It's a big news day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast just announced the second astrological secret layer, and also at the same time, unfortunately, let us know that there will be significant delays with the upcoming Unfinity product.
Magic.
I am a wizard!
History.
I'm an old wizard!
The Magic Historian.
My bones hurt. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another installment of Mega Magic News. There is so much going on in the world of Magic the Gathering right now. In fact, there's so much news that I'm going to have to divide it up into 2 videos. So come back later today for another fat installment of the news. But we're going to start out the first installment with the second astrological secret layer. So let's get the image up on the screen. Now, if for some reason you are not already familiar with this concept, let me clue you into what Wizards is doing here, because this is unlike any secret layer we've seen up until this point. Basically, these secret layers will be released every single month. So this is the second month, and this is the Aquarius secret layer. Last month was Capricorn, and we're going to continue on until we've done all 12 astrological symbols. So unlike other secret layers, where they are available for a very limited window, something like a super drop that shows up every couple of months, how these work is, once they've been released, you can order them for the rest of the year. So you can still order last month's. You're going to be able to order this month's one all the way to the end of the year. It does create some interesting questions where any of the astrological symbols that trend towards the end of the year are really getting the short end of the stick, it seems like, because you're going to have far less time to order those. And obviously the other big question with these type of secret layers is, if each of these secret layers just features one particular basic land, how do you handle the issue of there being 12 different months and 12 different astrological symbols that you need to take into account? Either you go 2 of each basic land and then 2 get wastes, which feels like a weird choice, or you do 2 of each basic land and 2 other basic lands get 3 copies, which also feels like a weird choice. This is a very odd duck product to me. And if you're wondering, oh, can I get other lands that are also under this astrological symbol? You cannot. The Aquarius symbol only gets this island. The secret layer will contain 5 copies of this card, and the secret layer is available in both foil and non-foil varieties, and also in bundles in case you want to get groupings of these, which I imagine most people will. Now, for me, the biggest part of this that I find strange is the fact that they didn't just do a cycle of 5 lands across the board. I guess they wanted to see what would happen if they just picked 1 land and zeroed in on it, and at the same time, it must be saving them a considerable amount of money on art costs, because they don't have to spend the money for 5 different pieces of artwork. But at the same time, they only have 1 piece of artwork to really bring you in. So obviously, one of the main things about this secret layer is it's going to tap into people who feel deeply connected to their astrological symbol, right? So that's really what Wizards is leaning into here. And I have to say, I genuinely enjoy the artwork of this island. The top half of it with the crazy wavy lines and the stars sparkling in it, that ties it to the first of the astrological lands that we saw last month for the Capricorn. But obviously it becomes quite different when you move down to the bottom half of the card that is submerged underwater. And I absolutely love the kind of contrast between the two. Up above, you've got this pinky red and purple area, and it feels very dry. And then you've got this lower area that starts with the light blue and moves into the darker and darker blues as you go deeper on the outer edges. But obviously, the really interesting part is that little city that is situated at the base of this mountain, almost like the waters like rose up above a town and submerged it. But you can see that there are all kinds of lights emanating from inside these little buildings. So it's more likely some sort of like merfolk city where they have little underwater lanternfish or something to light up their homes. It has a very mystical feel to it, and the sea serpent that is there sinuously in the background is a nice touch as well. Personally, I'm not a huge astrology style guy, but I do love the variety of different lands the game has to offer, and I could easily see myself using these kind of islands in a deck. I have to say, compared to last month's land, I like this one a lot more, but I still do feel like this secret lair is an odd beast. Like normally when a secret lair comes out, I will dedicate a video to it. It gets its own video to go over everything about it. But considering this is just one land for each, it's more of a slap it into the news, let's move on to the next item style scenario. And speaking of which, let's move on to the next item. Let's talk about the Unfinity release date change. So, Wizards of the Coast made an announcement today, and it says, due to ongoing supply chain complications from challenges associated with COVID-19, the release of Unfinity, our fourth unset, originally slated for April 1st, 2022, will be delayed until the second half of 2022. This delay is specific to Unfinity, and we'll have more information to share in the coming months. We greatly appreciate your understanding as we work towards our updated release timing and the wacky excitement Unfinity brings. So, I have to say, first of all, I'm a huge fan of Unset. So, there is some disappointment that resides in me knowing we are going to have to wait to get these cards. We've seen things like this happen in the past. One of the most notable examples I would say that kind of lines up against this one would be when all of a sudden out of nowhere they said Commander Legends, whoop, okay, we're bringing it out way later in the year. Now there's a number of different reasons that this can be happening. Like when you read this, they talk about due to ongoing supply chain complications and challenges. That doesn't necessarily mean specifically they're having a problem with the Unfinity product. They could just be deciding to move it along to move another product forwards in the line, although most likely it is a genuine problem, and part of that may be down to the fact that Unfinity is moving outside the box in terms of what Magic sets normally do. We don't have absolute confirmation of exactly what's included in there, but it's going to include additional game pieces, unlike things we've seen in the past, as far as it looks like, and one of the options for that might actually be stickers. So trying to create Magic cards that either incorporate stickers or additional sheets that include stickers to put inside the Unfinity boosters could be presenting an additional challenge. It's not like Wizards of the Coast has a ton of experience producing a ton of different stickers. I can only really think of a handful of examples where Wizards of the Coast has actually made stickers for any product. Now, I don't know that's exactly the case. Like I said, it could be a problem with a different product altogether, and because of that product, they have to change what they're doing with Unfinity and slot it into the schedule because they think it'll sell X amount. Like, it's not always as obvious as it seems, the underlying workings that go on within a company like this, but this is kind of the norm for current era times. We are seeing production issues across the board, manpower issues. There's all kinds of things that are kind of gumming up the works and making it more difficult for us all to enjoy our magical good times. And I'm super hyped about this Unfinity setup. Now, it's unfortunate as well that we don't get a specific release date in terms of this, which really does make me think more towards the actual genuine production problems with this rather than just juggling around the schedule. If it was juggling around the schedule, they could probably pinpoint it more for us as they moved things around. But when they say, hey, we'll give you more information when we got it, it sounds to me like reduced production capabilities. And what they have to do is go, okay, we wanted to print this much Unfinity, but we can't get it printed in time. So we're going to, instead of printing Unfinity, we're going to focus on printing whatever standard set or whatever else has to go up by that time. Maybe it turns out the Warhammer 40k commander decks weren't going to be able to be produced in time, but that was more important to them than getting Unfinity Unfinity out, because Unfinity is just like the fourth release of whatever. And when it comes to using other licenses and IPs, you do have time limitations on those sometimes. So Wizards of the Coast might just be like, well, you can only print these during these window. And if we go outside that window, we have to pay additional fees or whatever else. This is all just speculation from a man who doesn't work at Wizards of the Coast as to why this delay may be taking place. So there is more news to talk about, and it is fairly big news. I wanted to get this stuff out of the way first, so I'm going to go and work on that video. In the meantime, do not leave any comments on this video, do not subscribe, and do not like, but you may, if you desire, click on one of the videos on the screen and spend some more time with me. All right? I will see you guys later today.